Never have I ever been a campus brat. January. It didn't feel like it was January. Nor did her life at Caltech as part of the staff family much different from anywhere else she had been before. But, stepping off campus, smiling at whichever security guard was at the corner of the street and turning onto the main road changed Neil's perspective back to being a stranger in a different country. More than once had she stepped out to cross the street, to catch the bus and look the other way, being nearly knocked over. The journey took an hour, and the bus had Wi-Fi, so at least she could zone out, listening to whatever she had downloaded from iTunes the previous night, watching people get on and off, more Sherman Oaks High students filing on as the bus approached the neighborhood. 3 late afternoons and 2 nights had been the promise she had made to her dad to fulfill her family duties on campus. It was not mandatory that kids of academic staff babysat younger kids of other academic staff, but it was a done thing. She had had several young girls in their last year of school take her to nursery and infants who also sometimes cooked dinners and went through homeworks with her. When her mum had been diagnosed, Clara gave up her academic life and did all the fetching and taking. It was what was done and there was no payment offered. But campus brats got to live rent-free at the university and had the privileges of whatever facilities it had: pools, gyms, sports halls, food hall dinners, academic functions, whether your parents were involved or not. And there were a lot of functions. Neil wondered how it was that academics even had time to conceive a child, let alone raise one. So, her tuition with Ben Gross and Devi Vaishnakumar had to fit around the collection of Ashley Bright, the daughter of Professor Bright in the neuroscience department, from the daycare across town. Neil had agreed to go to the Brights' apartment, across the square where the academic residential block was, cook for the girl, inevitably pesto and whatever vegetables Pamela Bright had in the fridge, put in the Disney Channel and watch it with Ashley until her mother got back. That involved Neil staying for an indeterminate amount of time, for academics would often have post-class tutorials, collaborative projects, last-minute faculty meetings, events scheduled for a night, having been informed about them at 5 p.m. That night, after collecting Ashley, Neil was cooking tagliatelle in a cheese sauce, both from packets, mushrooms, broccoli, all of the things the little girl liked. "Do you want to watch Beauty and the Beast with me?" Ashley called through from the open-plan living room towards the kitchen where Neil's face was getting a steam from the boiling water. "Yes, Ashley," Neil called, "I'm doing dinner, if you want to put it on." Ashley turned her blonde head and smiled at Neil. "Your princess voice," she noted. "I like it when you use your princess voice." "It's my normal voice," Ashley thought, as she mixed water with the cheese sauce mix. To Ashley, she called, "That's so nice, sweetheart." "Before you put the DVD on, could you lay the table?" Ashley got to her feet, and began to walk around the table with giant chicken steps. "Cluck cluck, I'm gonna lay the table," Ashley continued, then stood in the middle of the room and crouched down, giving the best impression Neil had ever seen of a person pretending to be a chicken. A crackling on the stove and Neil turned back to the dinner in hand as Ashley continued with her impression, saying, laying the table." Half an hour later and the plates were in the sink, soaking and waiting to be washed up, and Neil was sitting next to Ashley as Beauty's yellow dress wafted onto the screen. The film was nearly 2 hours long. She would do the dishes shortly afterwards. While an evening meant until late in the evening, it was given that it could be several hours afterwards when an academic would actually be home. Neil could see herself bailing the girl and telling her a story. "I would prefer to stay at school," Neil told Ben and Devi when they asked her about time to meet. The girl thought she was playing a game, and hiding, like princesses sometimes do as servants or peasants or mermaids. Last night, Ashley had been the princess and Neil had Disneyfied her bedtime routine, bowing to Princess Ashley, who had all the covers piled on her bed like their princess and the pea, while Neil plaited her long hair into a crown around her head, and ignored yet another text from her inevitable tutors. "You can't do Wednesday through Friday, how about Saturday early evening?" "Thank you for your text, Ben," Neil typed, sitting on the end of Ashley's bed, too tired to move just yet with the things she needed to do. Is the school open at a weekend? Because she had explained her terms, and clearing off to a frozen yogurt place or somewhere out in Los Angeles was not what Neil was about to do. Devi can do after school on Monday, came back Ben's reply. Almost immediately, Neil stared at the phone. No need to reply too quickly, she was busy, after all, and right then, she was busy gathering her thoughts. Then, after watching Ashley breathe in her sleep, dreaming, no doubt, about princesses and castles and ponies and pink and glitter, Neil turned back to her phone. Great. See you both then.